far south, beyond the borders of the Empire, beyond the human kingdoms of Estalia, Tilia, and the Border Princes, beyond the orc-infested Badlands, lies a kingdom of dust. Legends tell of a once great civilization called Nehekhara, which flourished along the banks of a great river long before the coming of Sigmar. But a great calamity befell this kingdom, and all its works, achievements, and its people were laid low by the great necromancer Nagash. Plague, war, pestilence, and death swept the realm, and now all that remains is a silent, parched, and desolate wasteland. The wandering tribes of Araby call it Ael no Imwati, the land of the dead. For centuries, none have dared trespass here, for even in death, the Tomb Kings maintain a watchful vigil. But in the year 2504, an expeditionary force commanded by Lord Mbaltz Itzari crossed the Charnel Valley and entered ancient Nehekhara. His goal was simple: acquire 3 waystones of power and return them to his fortress of Marbach. Lord Itzari was a lord of the Dawitza. In the tongue of dwarves, Dawitza means fire dwarf. Sorcerers and slavers, they worship the dark god Hashut and pursue only one thing: power. Such a trespass could not be suffered. Once again, ancient legions rose from the sands and sallied forth to meet the intruder. The 2 armies met southeast of the silent palace of Qatar, and it was here, under the shadows of the obelisks, that their respective fates would be decided. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my first Kings of War battle report. Today we will have the Chaos Dwarves / Abyssal Dwarves taking on Tomb Kings / Empire of Dust. I apologize if it's confusing that I'm using Warhammer terminology and Kings of War terminology, but I'm afraid this is where I'm at this point in my life. I really like Kings of War. I think it's a really, really good rank and file game, but there's only room for Warhammer in my head in terms of lore. I'm sorry. Warhammer came first. I got into it when I was 10, and that was 30 years ago, so I'm sorry. It has precedence in my brain. Anyway, so today I was playing Tom, and we were playing scenario number 9 from the Kings of War rulebook. We are going to contest these 3 tokens in the center of the board. The central token here is worth 2 victory points, and the ones on the left and right are worth 1 apiece. The player who has the most victory points, i.e. control of the tokens, wins the game. Abyssal Dwarves, turn number 1. Tom on the roll to go first, and he wasted no time in moving his entire army towards the objective. His center was comprised of his strongest troops, the Obsidian Golems, the gigantic Greater Obsidian Golem, and the lesser, a horde of lesser Obsidian Golems. Their advance was slightly slowed down by the presence of a wood, but this would prove to be a double-edged sword because while it impeded his advance somewhat, it would not prevent him from getting to the tokens first, and it also provided him some protection from my shooting. Empire of Dust, turn number 1. In response, I did not advance my troops forward. I just made sure that they were out of any charge ranges. I was very wary of the half-breeds slash bull centaurs on his right flank and on my left. And I made sure that my Ushbati, guardians, were out of range, and also that my prince on the chariot was also safely out of range. In Kings of War, you can pre-measure distances, so at all times, we know if a unit can be charged or cannot be charged. And I've learned from Tom that when you move your troops, you also can confirm it with your opponent so that there are no misunderstandings or nasty surprises. Abyssal Dwarves, turn number 2. On his second turn, Tom was able to gain control of the central objective. The left and right objectives were still out of reach because of his slow-moving dwarves, but right now, Tom was up 2 points to 0. It looked like that the Chaos Dwarves would be adopting a defensive posture, and that I, as the Tomb King player, would be forced to chase the game by having to advance forward. Empire of Dust, turn number 2. Galvanized by the capture of the Central Waystone, the Empire of Dust came to life. Well, not really, they kind of just ambled forward in a shambolic manner. Most of my troops are classified as shambling, which means they cannot march. In Warhammer terms, they cannot march. In Kings of War terms, they cannot move at the double. However, the big strength of shambling troops is that they can be moved forward during the magic shooting phase with a spell called Surge. The way Surge works is you roll a dice, and if you roll 4 or more, your surged unit will move forward 1 inch. Typically, Surge is cast with 8 dice, which means you will probably amble forward 4 inches. And so that was my plan, was to amble forward, not marching, and then try to make up the movement differential by surging them forward. Abyssal Dwarves, turn number 3. On his turn, Tom decided to withdraw his Earth Elementals back towards his lines, but advance his Greater Elemental to pose as a threat. Well, actually, he just lined them up, didn't he? He just created a solid line and just said, "Come at me, skellies!" I have to confess that I started making this video in January 2023, and I'm actually finishing it in November because life got in the way. And right now I'm really drunk, so I'm afraid if I am incoherent, that's because, I've had a couple too many. But anyway, yes, Tom rationalized his lines, created a strong defensive line, and just waited for me to come on down. Abyssal Dwarves, turn number 4. I started making this battle report way back in January 2023, over 2 years ago. And right now it is May 2025, so it's taken me more than 2 years to actually finish this. So I'm really sorry. I can't remember what happened here. I'm just gonna quickly gloss over it and finish it and put it on YouTube just so I can say I've actually done it. So, I don't know what the hell happened here. I can't bloody well remember. But, yeah, I apologize. In the future, I'll be making reports about the old world, but, yeah, just trying to look at these pictures and try to remember what happened is a lost cause. I seem to recall surging forward quite a few times, but good lord. Yeah, fuck if I know, I can't bloody well remember. Sorry. Yeah, from what I remember, I was using Surge to move my units forward while using Wind Blast, which is a spell that pushes a unit back to mess up Tom's charges. Luckily, I recorded the epilogue of this battle report at the end of 2023, so this, as I'm speaking now, it's 2025, but hopefully the 2023 epilogue makes more sense than my meanderings during the middle of this game, because I can't bloody well remember. I just want to get this done and, say that I've done it. Here it is, 2023 me.
Empire of Dust, turn number 6. This was the situation in the last turn of the game. Here is a 1-point token. Tom had graciously dropped it on purpose because he realized that there are restrictions to movement while carrying one of these Waystone objectives. And Tom, being the consummate gentleman that he is, he voluntarily dropped this token here, which meant that the only tokens still in hand by the Chaos Dwarves / Abyssal Dwarves was the 2-point token and the 1-point token carried by this unit over here. Now, for me to salvage a draw, I had to destroy this unit, because doing so would make them drop these 2-point and 1-point tokens, meaning that no side had any tokens in hand. We would effectively be at 0-0, and it would be a draw. So the question in the last turn was that, could all the damage by this unit, and this unit finally destroy this unit of Chaos Dwarves? Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to tell you that yes, that fucking did! Yeah! It was a draw. And to add insult to injury, this sorceress over here had rear charged that other Chaos Dwarf unit that had been here previously, and because she had cast a combat buff spell upon herself called Host Shadow Beast, she actually destroyed the unit. So, yes, a draw. A fitting result, I thought. Conclusion. Well, all jokes aside, it was a really fun game. Tom is he's just a great player. He's a great representative of Kings of War, because he plays fair, he knows the rules really well, and he's just he's a real gent. But I'm sure if I met him in a tournament setting, he would be, a little bit more ruthless. But that's par for the course. That's the same for everybody. Friendlies are friendlies. Tournament games are tournament games. I was stupid lucky to get away with a draw, because I rolled really high in those last turns. They were just pulled directly from my ass. Nonetheless, it was a great game. I can't speak enough about, Tom, his generalship and his sportsmanship. I, however, am an irredeemable idiot, and I own this. But I don't know, if you've never played Kings of War, you should try it, because it is a fun game. However, it is very different from Warhammer, and that's part of the appeal, right? Because if it's similar to Warhammer, why bother changing up, right? But Kings of War is very different, but it's fast, plays much faster than Warhammer, and it's just a different way of playing rank and file games. Anyway, if you've stuck with me for this long, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. Have a good one.